Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's great to be here today. Seeing you here, I see Irene or Irene. I'm so sorry to mispronounce your names all the time. I'll try my best. Nuri, hi Nuri. How are you guys doing? Hey Nuri. Yeah, very excited with our topic today. As usual, we're gonna give you guys 2 more minutes to settle in, and as always, we like to learn where you guys come from, where you say where you writing us from. For instance, right now I'm in Venezuela, sunny Venezuela, drinking the best decaf coffee that I just discovered. I discovered a new brand, and I'm so happy with it. From Kenya. Hello, John. I remember seeing you before. Nairobi. Yeah, Irene, I remember. Satya from India. Welcome. Which part of India, by the way? The only one from Central and Eastern Africa? We'll see today, John. I don't wanna brag about our audience, but people are coming. V oh man, Vijaya. Sorry. Vijaya from India. Welcome. Hyderabad. I have a very good friend in there. Simply from Poland. And Lakshmi, we know Lakshmi. She was here in the last episode, the previous episode, by the way. If you guys came last time, thank you for coming, for joining, Lakshmi. It's great to have you here. She was the one giving us our her great her great content about agile and AI in these days. AI is a hot topic, and this is why I would like to get this topic started. Because today, as every day that we're having content in here. We're always so excited to learn. And we bring the third episode of this educational series where we hope to learn something new that is useful for us, that we can apply, incorporate into our work, into our personal lives. And this one is super special because the content that Jamie has for us today is also related to AI. And I just have to tell you that I sneak peeked his deck, and I'm so excited to see his approach in how we can embrace AI these days. Because one of the premises is that AI is not going anywhere anytime soon, so we have to embrace it. And he's going to give us tools, frameworks, and very useful knowledge on how to apply what's out there into our into our work, into our products. And it's super exciting. And of course, I would like to introduce our incredible guest today, Jamie Elliott. He's right now. Told me he's in Germany. He works for Hero X. And hey, Jamie, how is it going today?
It's going great, Luis. Really, really thankful to be here. Love what you guys are doing with this. I love your crowd. And so, yeah, excited to talk about this today. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. We have people still joining. And 1 minute before handing this over to our incredible guest today, hey Sunita, Domingos, and Oriola, uh, I would like to give you a preview or a small agenda of how this is going to unfold. All right. So I'm going to hand this over to Jamie. He has very exciting material prepared for you. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's going to be very interactive. And you're gonna have with your time with him, and we're gonna set 10 minutes at the end, so we have our Q&A session. We learned from the last time, and we know that you guys have a lot of questions, and we're gonna open up something called Slido. You're gonna see it there in the chat, below the chat. So if you have any questions, you go there, please, and write your questions in there, because that will help us keep us organized, so Jamie can go at the end one by one and give you answers to all of these questions. And that's what it's. So I leave you guys to Jamie. I'm gonna be here on the backstage. You don't have to see my face anymore. I know that you guys see me too much, but I'm gonna be here around chatting and learning with you guys. So thank you, Jamie. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Luis. All right, let's get started, everyone. It's really, really great to be here. All right. So, AI today and tomorrow. Um, the three big takeaways, as Luis mentioned, AI is not going anywhere. This is my opinion. I've spent quite a bit of time in the AI space as a researcher, as somewhat a little bit of a developer, but not so much. But just based on investments and where things are going, I don't think it's going anywhere. And for you as professionals and the type of work that you do, I do believe that AI is essential for just staying competitive, staying relevant, keeping your work product and your efficiency up to a certain level. And so I want to talk a bit about how you can do that, give you some tools to start exploring, show you that there's nothing to be afraid of in going into it. And then my hope is that when you do that, when you kind of bring your own baseline up and figure out how you can work with these tools, that you'll find so many efficiencies that and new ways of doing things that you'll take it even further. You'll go way back past that baseline and want to go explore more. And honestly, I'd love to hear from some of you way down the road about how you've done that. And because I've had a crazy journey with it. It's been a lot of fun. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that. So a brief history, that is not me, that is Alan Turing. Alan Turing was the first one who kind of conceptualized artificial intelligence and what it would mean if there were an intelligence that we had created that could fool us. So a little bit about me, though. I spent 13 years in the US government, and 10 of those were in the Health Resources and Services Administration in the United States. And I was doing data analytics, IT project management, and innovation. I was working with a group called the National Health Service Corps and the Nurse Corps that pays off student and school debt for doctors and nurses that go and serve in underserved areas. Like I said, I was doing IT and admin work. I just got really lucky that the work I was doing happened to be socially impactful, and it was very, very rewarding. So I was doing some data analytics work, having a lot of fun. I had gotten really good with spreadsheets. Around 2012, 2013, I made a discovery in some data that led to an idea. That idea would have been very efficient for the government. And so there were some people that didn't like the idea. It was a little bit too efficient. It would save too much money. So I submitted the idea to this accelerator to protect it, and we were successful. We ended up saving the government almost $700,000 a year, every year, even this year since 2013. But that process made me fall in love with innovation. And so I went back, I was a mentor, and left the government in 2016. I was doing geospatial analytics, and moved to Germany, started doing healthcare consulting, and a part of that was the innovation work. I started designing and leading challenge competitions, started out in the maternal and child health space. So again, very, very rewarding just by default, but kind of this knack for innovation and analytics was always there. I started playing with AI around 2016 and realized what it could do for me. What I thought was interesting in 2016 was that in 2016, 2017, 2018, it seemed like AI might not take over. It might not become as big as it now is, because in the healthcare space, we had IBM Watson. And Watson notoriously was brought into a hospital system, and it was going to revolutionize everything. Well, it flopped because it made a bunch of wrong diagnoses and wrong treatment plans. It's a very interesting read. And so that actually stalled things for AI in general. But so I'm going to jump to why AI isn't going anywhere. It is probably going to keep growing. By 2022, you see here that yes, AI investment had boomed, but it did have a cool down up to 2022. But then November 30th, 2022 was a very momentous day. That was the day that ChatGPT was released to the world. I signed up for my ChatGPT account on December 1st, 2022. and the rest has been history. It's been pretty amazing. And so to look at some of these dollar investments now, um, going from with a $92 billion investment as a cool down, reaching 109 billion in the US alone last year, and now saying it's going to triple in 2025. And that's just in enterprises. So that has nothing to do with governments or nonprofits or NGOs, private investment. It is going up. It is only going up. So using AI to get to your next level. So what I tried to do was to think about the things we do on a day-to-day basis, that where AI can help us, and then the things we manage about the things we do, that where AI can help us, and come up with some practical tools and some examples of the ways that I've used AI. And I just need to open up the chat for a second to make sure I'm not missing anything here. So bear with me 1 second. Okay. So the first tool I was using was Motion. So one of the first tools I was using was Motion. Motion is a really, really fun tool. I highly recommend it. And I started using this because when I manage tasks and when things get really, really busy for me, meaning I look at my task list and I don't know where to start because everything is equally important and I just kind of freeze, then my best thing is to just do time blocking. And just say, okay, well, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to do this. And then for 45 minutes, I'm going to do this. And then maybe I'll take a break. The problem with that is that to switch task management methods, you have to switch your method. You have to switch the way you do your work. And that's one of the themes I want to resonate throughout this is that everybody has a different way that they work. And these AI tools can very easily bend to however it is you work. You just have to give yourself the patience to learn it and figure out how it's going to work for you, which also means figuring out how it's not going to work for you. So Motion, what you see on that animated image on the left there is blue items are meetings, right? And purple items are tasks. So you load in your whole task list and how long you think it's going to take you. And then meetings change, and then it reorganizes your tasks for you and all of your time blocking. So I thought this was really cool. The problem was I didn't want to go learn this tool, and I will come up with tasks when I'm, washing the dishes or in a meeting, and I need to be able to get to that place. And at the time that I signed up for Motion, their mobile app was really bad. It was horrible, and I didn't want to change to use a bad app, my entire way of working. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, I need to figure out a way to integrate into this. I just want to have a place where I can manage my tasks all day long, just write down tasks as they come up, and then I want to get them loaded into Motion. And Chat helped me write a script. That's an actual screenshot of the script. It's a Python script that would take a task list that I generate. So then all I was doing was working in Excel. So every day, throughout the day, I would just write out my tasks in this list in Excel and about how long it would take me. And then either at the end of that day or the next morning, I would clean it up a little bit, add which projects they're related to, which clients and things. And then I would run that script and it would automatically import and build my calendar in Motion. And so this was me adapting my task management strategy that worked for me because I'm very familiar with Excel. It's very friendly. And so I could just do that. Now, I need to pause here because, and just disclaim, I am not a developer. I am not a Python developer at all. I learned a few things. I took a few classes a long, long time ago. And yes, maybe that made me a little bit more comfortable, but this was a long time ago that I built this. So I don't want anyone to feel hesitation if you are not a coder. Chat and the AI tools can do everything for you. It is very important to just relax and say, I want to learn how to do this. Can you help me learn how to do this? Chat is a very positive oriented chatbot. It will always say yes and help you find a way. But yeah, so for example, I think you guys have a session coming up on August 19th on vibe coding. So you could, go to chat today and say, I have 28 days until this session on vibe coding. I want just a little bit of a primer every day that helps me get ready for that. And it'll give you, actually, chat now has tasks that you can build in daily that say, so I have, for example, I want to be more stoic. I have a chat reminder that pops up at 7 o'clock every morning. It's just a quote from Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or something that helps me just think about and approach my day. I also have a reminder that comes up at 10 o'clock every night that says, hey, it's time to wind down. Here are some exercises and some things you need to do to wind down and close out your day. So um, have fun with this. Motion's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Okay, communication. This one's a big one for everyone. Um, when chat first came out, I remember the first prompt I gave chat, and it was write me a short story about three things: space travel, something lost that needs to be found, and death. And it wrote me this inspiring yet sad space travel story. It was quite moving, honestly, and it was incredible how powerful it was. Um, it can also be used for email drafting. Many of you have probably seen Gemini pop up if you're using Gmail, Copilot in Microsoft, these auto completions that have been around for a while that want to help you improve your writing, or they want to do the writing for you. But then there are tools like writing improvement, like Grammarly, very helpful. And I think that this is an important theme to bring up as well, is that with all of this, I don't look at chat as, oh, I'm sorry, I don't look at AI as a replacement for my job. There are aspects it can augment. There are things it can do better than me and things it knows better than me. But I look at it as a tool to kind of turn me superhuman. Like, how can I get better? How can I learn? And I think, is it Lakshmi talked about this last week, this AQ, right? Adaptive quotient, right? Finding ways to make ourselves better through AI, and it absolutely can do that for you. So, other things that chatbots can help you with: cover letters and outreach, and I'm going to show you a really cool example. But be careful. So I'm going to show you a really cool example, but I want you to be careful in how you use things, because many of you might have noticed already when you've been handed a piece of writing that is definitely AI generated. Not only that, it does a couple things that desensitizes us to the writing, right? We already had a problem with people not reading our messages completely when we put thought into them. Now we're not putting thought into them. We're letting AI do the work. And and we expect people to read them. I only let Gemini write an email for me if it is transactional, meaning, hey, this trigger happened. This is the next step for you to do, and here are the instructions to do it. Because that's a bottleneck, me writing that email, and I just want to keep the work moving. A lot of these things are built right into your workspaces now, but I want to show you a really, really cool one. So the same way that I used Motion, I went and got an API key from Motion, which was included in my membership. And then Chat helped me write that script. You can also do the same in Google Sheets. So Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, they have a code background. Excel's is called VBA. It's been there forever. And you can actually write your own scripts. You can write your own macros. And so Chat can write you a macro. So if you're doing outreach, let's say for a job, so I'm going to do a live example here. So let's say I find someone on LinkedIn, their name is Jamie, and they work at HeroX, and they are hiring for the position of project manager. And my relevant skills are task management, meeting coordination, and people skills. And then I also want to send one to Jessie because I saw she works at Populi and she has an image annotator role open. And my relevant skills are object detection and I don't know, model building. So I have this macro, again, that chat wrote the whole thing for me, and it gave me instructions about how to go and implement it. I did not write this at all. It gave me all the instructions on even how to go get my API key to allow my Google Sheets to talk to ChatGPT. And then all I have to do, so imagine you've got 100 of these, and I click AI message generator, generate all messages. Now, what it's doing is it's taking these fields and it's wrapping them in a prompt and sending them over to ChatGPT. And then what comes back are actual messages that I can go copy and paste into LinkedIn for my outreach. So this is powerful stuff. And it's a lot of fun. The first time I ever saw somebody do this, it was they wrote like 100 thank you cards for their wedding. They put in the guest name and either something memorable that they did at the wedding or the gift that they gave them, and it just dragged the cell down and got all of their thank you cards written. So the word of warning on this, where I work at HeroX and we do challenge competitions, and we get some heavy challenge competitions, engineering stuff. You've got to go build these things. We built a detector, and it doesn't say this is AI, this is not AI, but it gives us, the reviewers, a likelihood that something that was written is AI. There are indicators. And it didn't take long. I think it took us a week to put this feature out. And it helps us because what people will do is take our entire challenge design and throw it into chat and say, write me a solution for this. And then they'll paste the whole thing into our submission form. So we're getting it's spam in a way. So we need to filter that out. But right, but now we need. This is where the AI should be enhancing what you can do. It should be elevating you, not replacing. Don't let it replace us. Right? That's up to everyone here. Okay, let's get back. All right, the tools. I realize I'm in front of some of these words. Not a big deal. You all should be able to get access to this deck. So these are the biggest tools that are out there right now. I've got some best practices, some integrations that they have, and some potential limitations. I'll just cover a few of those. ChatGPT, the biggest. It's been around the longest. It's almost an OG at this point in the AI space. And that's from OpenAI, which has a heavy investment from Microsoft. Notebook LM, if you haven't seen Notebook LM, it's really, really cool. It's a Google product, and they're working on their integrations between it and Gemini. So I'll touch on Gemini really quick, and then I'll jump over to Notebook LM. Gemini exists in the Google Workspace, which is very, very powerful because it has access to Docs and Drive. You'll see something pop up that says, give me an overview of this document. You can also unleash it in your spreadsheets and say, identify which cells are 2 standard deviations above the average of this column. And it can do that. So very, very powerful stuff where it's not like ChatGPT where you have to either integrate your sheets or you have to download the Excel and go upload it into chat. It's built right in, and that's what you're going to see more and more of. So I do want to touch on Notebook LM real quick though, because I just find it kind of fascinating. Notebook LM has a more limited context window, and we'll talk more about context windows, but that a context window is basically how much the AI can remember as you're talking or as you're chatting with it. And there are tricks and ways to get around that we'll talk about. But Notebook LM was designed for the student and the researcher. So I understand that you all are very into learning and self-improvement and professional improvement and continuous improvement. That's great. Notebook LM is a really powerful tool for that. So it's built kind of around this context window. So let me show you a quick example of some of the features that they built. So this is a project that I had. We just launched this challenge competition actually today for sealing large conduits in dams in the US. And so as I was building it, I needed to wrap my head around the concepts. And so I have all these sources. These are documents and meeting notes that I uploaded. Um, One thing you can do just to learn about it is you can generate a mind map. And so the AI will automatically dive in and go pull out the biggest concepts and group them together. And I can say, well, I want to look into what the key considerations or the relevant technologies and resources are. Okay, there's cost off the shelf technology. Fluid mechanics is cool. Let's look at fluid mechanics. Oh, fundamental theory. I want to learn about fundamental theory. I click on that, and now it takes me back into a chat where I can have a chat about fluid theory right here. The other really cool thing, and I learned about this through, I think, a Medium article, was about how students are using Notebook LM. They'll compile all of their notes from the coursework of a class for a week. And then as they're falling asleep, you can turn your content into a podcast. So check this out real quick.
Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty fascinating, and maybe not something you think about every day,
Right.
but it's actually a pretty critical issue. It has to do with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation and
USBR, yep.
the USBR, exactly. And the problem they're facing is how to seal these massive water conduits, those huge.
Okay, fascinating. It's really, really cool how they do this. There's actually an interactive mode that's in beta where you can dive into the conversation and start talking to them. You can start asking them questions and they'll respond to you. And I have more on the audio side of things at the very end here. But Notebook LM, I am personally trying to use Notebook LM as a second brain. So if anybody's familiar with the book by Tiago Forte called Building a Second Brain, I highly recommend it. It's just an organization method really for your notes and things, but using our digital tools. And it was written before the boom in AI. And it's a way of just capturing things in one place whenever it comes to you, whenever, so that because you might need it one day. And then that indexing system allows you to find it. Notebook LM seems to be one of the best ways to categorize those things and organize those things. Okay, let me just check my notes. Okay, so Microsoft Copilot, similar to Gemini and Google, it's kind of a workspace-based thing, but where Copilot has gotten very, very strong is in the coding. So if anybody here is a developer or is dabbling in that space, you will see Copilot start to pop up in GitHub, and it's very good. It's very, very good and powerful. So if you're writing code, this will likely come up in that vibe coding session on August 19th. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but powerful stuff. And then Claude, Anthropic, there's a whole drama about Anthropic and OpenAI and Sam Altman and all of that. Good to read about. But Claude is also a very powerful tool. Claude, Grok, yes, there is Grok. Sorry, I didn't make the list. But Claude introduced the concept of projects and projects, and which ChatGPT adopted after Claude did it first. And that's the idea of if your chat only has a limited context window, if it can only remember so much as you're going along, then a project takes those files, like you saw in my Notebook LM, takes those files, it takes some project instructions that you give it. You say, hey, you're a great proposal writer, and this is what we're working on. You're renowned for your speech writing, and that it always has that as a basis, and then you start your chat with it. So that context window is important there. All right. Next up is setting up and staying safe. This has to do with privacy. This has to do with ethics, and it also has to do with that continuing education part. So I highly recommend that you turn on your privacy settings so that in ChatGPT, I believe it's written as do not use my information to train the further models. That should be turned on in every application that you're using. don't worry, they're getting plenty of content. They don't need your content to train their models. With ChatGPT, there's something called a temporary chat, where as soon as you click out of it, it's not going to remember anymore. I highly recommend that. If what you're asking it and what you're doing with it, you don't need beyond that point, go ahead and use temporary chat. If you get into it and you realize, oh, I really need this, then a trick is tell chat, hey, I need to take this over to another permanent chat. Please write me a prompt that has all of the context that I need to go and do that, and have it write that prompt before you close out of it. Exactly, like Chrome Incognito. Temporary chat, very, very useful. I use it all the time. Those privacy settings are important. Even with those privacy settings turned on, I will say on the record, I do not trust these organizations. I do not trust that they don't delete my things. Maybe they do, and it would be really great if they do. If anybody does, Anthropic probably does. But do not upload personal information, especially if it's not yours. Do not upload sensitive information. Do not upload information about anyone else that if they found out about it, they would think that it's sensitive. Um, just don't do it. And that does mean extra work. You know, it's if you've ever worked in the AI development space, or in data visualization or in data analytics, we say, you know, data preparation is 80 to 90% of the work. That's true here as well when you're uploading things into chat and into these AI tools. You need to be cognizant of what you're providing them, and intentional about what you're not providing them. So it's very important. The other thing I would say on the ethical side, I understand somewhat of the work that you all do and love the work that you all do. I do think in some of the jobs that you all take on, if I'm understanding correctly, image annotation, sound annotation, narrative annotation, things like that, those annotations may be used to train AI models, additional or new AI models, right? You should not be using AI to do that work, because not only is it cheating in the work, but it's going to make the models worse. You know, if these things hallucinate up to 20% of the time and can't tell you why or where it came from, that will only get worse. It will degrade the models. And we want them to get better because they help us get better. Continuous learning, tool familiarization, spend time with your tools. Learn what works, learn what doesn't. It can be tricky when you're working for multiple clients across workspaces. One uses Microsoft, one uses Google, but they do have some overlapping things, and you kind of want to share, or it doesn't remember what you were working on over here, and you have to download and upload. That is just the state that we're in right now until things get more connected. But get familiar with context windows. Context windows are one of the things you just have to learn the hard way, especially if you get deep into a coding project and the AI just keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. And you get to a point where you realize, I have to start over. Oh no. That's very unfortunate, but it happens. And that's how you learn. I have an anecdote about how this workshop or how this talk was created that I'll share at the end. Continuous learning, there's so much great information out there. That data science essentials course, I took that back in 2018, 2019. That's through the Pragmatic Institute. And that was just a fantastic foundation for how AI models work, how they get trained, and how you can build them yourselves and tune things. And that was a lot of fun. The fireplace, the fire there in the middle is Lenny's newsletter. If you're not familiar, I think I got a Lenny's newsletter notification while we were talking. Yeah, he has a free version. This week's is Build Your Personal AI Copilot, a guide to using AI as a long-term thinking partner. And that's how you should be using AI. It's your consultant. It's helping you do the thing better. But that's Lenny's newsletter, Lenny's podcast. Great tools, great tools. And then Google Cloud has also a lot of free courses, and you can follow a curriculum, and it's curated. Similar to, I think you all are competing for possibly a Udemy subscription, which is awesome. And so Udemy has a lot of courses out there. I hope whoever wins takes some cool AI courses included in that subscription. All right. Next, we want to get into a little bit of the prompt, a little bit of the interactivities with prompt engineering. So prompt engineering, you may have heard of. It's the idea of building your prompts so that chat knows exactly what to do with them, or the AI knows exactly what to do with them to give you the response that you should get. So what I've put in here are some ambiguous prompts, prompts that could be taken at least two different ways. And I'm going to show an ambiguous prompt like explain how to improve performance. And then I'm going to show the two different, at least two different ways that that could be interpreted by an AI. And what I would ask you all to do, if you feel like it, is in the chat, in the webinar, give me good, more specific prompts. So for explain how to improve performance, this could be your professional or personal performance, or this could be my system machine performance. So what are some prompts? Go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to keep going and I'll take a look at them in a moment here. Describe how to build a strong foundation. This could be my relationships, my moral foundation. How do I become a better person? Or it could be that I'm constructing, a shed in my backyard and I need to dig a foundation and lay some concrete. So again, ambiguous prompts, it forces you to think about how to be more clear. I have some other tips about this. Discuss the impact of training. What kind of training are we talking about? Professional development, like you all are doing right now, or physical exercise? What could be the impact? Here's the thing about AI tools, especially ChatGPT. It's not going to ask you, what do you mean? Sometimes, depending on the model. If you're using like the deep research models or Ep3, which is the advanced reasoning, but most of the time, it's just going to assume, oh, you're talking about professional development, so I'm going to talk about professional development. And even if you tell it, no, you're wrong, it doesn't go back and delete what you told it. It still kind of has that at least taking up a bit of the context window. So it's good to be clear about it. The last one here is explain how to form good habits, personal habits or professional habits. The last thing I would say about this, a few tips about prompt engineering. I started this very early on. I keep a separate document that I call prompt prep. And actually, in many of my notes, you may have even seen the Notebook LM, I have like a prompt staging place somewhere in my notebooks where I formulate that prompt. I think about what I want to tell it first and what I want to put emphasis on. I gather all my materials before I dump it in. It's actually kind of exciting for me to like dump the first prompt into chat and say, all right, here you go. Let's see what you can do with this. Assign roles. You may have heard before. You can tell chat at the outset, you are this. You are a world-renowned code developer or developer. You are known for not using buzzwords or cliches. Also, tell it who your audience is. That's very important. If you are having it help you write something or explain something, then make sure it knows who to communicate this for. Okay. Just a few other very quick things. Let me see how we are on time. We're doing great on time. I just want to share about some things that I did, some other fun use cases or case studies. I told you about my tasks, the assigned tasks in chat. I highly recommend that if there's anything you'd like a daily reminder about. It's been very useful for me. I like to go for hikes. I live in the hills in Germany, and to actually build this talk, there's an audio feature in ChatGPT similar to the podcast one that you heard in Notebook LM. So I knew that a couple weeks ago I needed to start conceptualizing this conceptualize this talk. And so what I did was I had my phone, I had my headphones, I was heading out for a walk, and I got into a conversation with chat and I said, okay, you are a world-renowned workshop facilitator, and I am a subject matter expert in AI. And I want you to construct and facilitate a workshop with me while I'm walking and ask me questions that when I answer them, they help you build the outline and the content for this talk. And so for the next hour and a half, I went for this walk and I would just rant. I would just talk to Chad. It would ask me questions. Now, what is important about that with the context window is the structure. So I first had to give me an entire outline. So give me the outline for the talk. And I said, this is the type of crowd that I'm going to be talking to. These are the things I already know I want to cover. And then chat gave me an outline. And then I would correct it. And I would say, no, let's fix this. And then it would adjust the outline. We got the outline, but then I said, okay, now we're going to go piece by piece. Now we're going to build out one section at a time because I knew that its context window was limited. I knew that if I said build me all of the content for the whole talk, that it would stay high level, it would stay too broad. And I wanted to dive deep into these examples. I wanted to make note of these case studies that I wanted to share with you because I was thinking of them. The great thing is what chat does with that audio is it transcribes it. So when I was done, I got home and I had this entire talk planned out, outline, high level content and everything. When I logged into my computer, it was all there for me. I said, the last thing I want you to do is give me a worksheet for myself so that as I build out each slide of this deck, I am touching on all of the important points and making sure that I hit every important point for this audience as I build this content. And that was because I knew I wasn't going to keep talking to chat about this. I was going to go build this thing, but I wanted to have something to think about every time because I wasn't out on that hike anymore. So you really can bend it to how you work best. The interviewing piece is fun. Tell chat to challenge you. Tell chat, hey, I might be wrong about this. I have an assumption about something and I want you to challenge me. It'll still be too nice sometimes. You have to push it a little bit to push you. But that's one of the best and most fun and rewarding aspects of using it is the exploration and going to chat and saying, I've got this idea. Where might I be wrong? What am I missing? What have I not thought about? And it'll tell you because it's an expert for the most part. So it's a lot of fun. The last little one I just want to show to is some geospatial stuff that I did. A friend of mine that we used to work together in government, he left the government, and I told you I did just some geospatial work. When he left government this year, he decided to ride his bike across the United States to raise awareness and money for mental health. And I get to track him on Strava every day. He's 53 days into it now. He takes breaks here and there. He's been seeing amazing stuff, and he posts his ride and his and pictures and the stories on Strava. I follow him on Strava. One thing Strava lets you do is download a GPX file. GPX file is latitude, longitude, and time, so that you can create a map. And so I went to chat and I said, hey, I've got all these GPX files. Can you help me stitch them together? Because in Strava, you just see these 80 to 120 kilometer rides that he does every day. And I want to see the whole picture. And Chet was like, yeah. And I mean, really, this thing is the script is like 20 lines. And now every day I run this script. The whole process takes me like 3 minutes total. And then I get to follow him across the map and see that he's almost made it all the way to the West Coast. So I just wanted to end with that. I encourage you to have fun with it, explore, have it challenge you, better yourself. And then I'll jump back to the slides here because I do have my email address there and a QR code that I'm now in front of. Maybe I'll go that way. I don't know if it'll work. But you all get these slides anyway. That's to my LinkedIn profile. Please connect with me. I'd love to hear about how you all are using this. And yeah, I look forward to your questions. So thanks so much.
Hello there again, Jamie. What a great content, man. You have me here fascinated.
It's fun,
Thank you.
right? Thanks, man.
Yeah, taking notes. Well, I'm gonna step in a little bit to help with the question section. There's I just read them for you. They're here
Okay.
organized in a section that is called Slido. So we have the first one from Irene. She
Okay.
says, "Hi, did you mean that ChatGPT can help someone not trained, for instance, in coding, to create a whole AI platform company or enterprise, not just tasks, just by a simple prompt?" That's what she asked.
Absolutely, Irene. So check out a platform called Lovable, Lovable.
Mm-hmm.
You will definitely hear about this in that vibe coding session coming up in August. That is there are people, someone has predicted that within the next year or two, someone will sell the first company for $1 billion that was completely written, like the whole company is one person. Like it's absolutely, if you just go try Lovable and tell it about an application you want to build, and it's incredible what you can do. Again, there are context windows, there are issues in the coding, and you may run into roadblocks where just something's not working and you need a professional. That's when you need to go rely on humans to help you on places like Stack Overflow. But yes, to answer your question, you can go build these things. I have built these things using just AI prompts.
Wow, yeah, that's super interesting. I also heard about this platform, how people are building things really fast.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Thank you, Erin. Great question. We have now next Hyra Abid. The question is, how can we address AI bias and discrimination in automated systems?
I'm not sure what is meant by the word address. So I think, I, honestly, I think the best advice I can give is the same way we address them in people systems, right? We honestly, like we need to be honest that these things exist. We need to be honest about where we stand on these things. And we need to be constantly looking for them and aware that they may exist. Um, the AI the deep research tool in ChatGPT, if you're dealing with a sensitive topic and you're dealing with some writing or some material that needs to be credible, then use the deep research tool because it has to provide you citations. It has to tell you where it came from. And so this is where we have to do our own homework and look at where it's pulling evidence from, and then look at the credibility of those sources. Um, if you're developing these systems yourselves, then it's important to work with statisticians and data scientists, and data curators and data collectors that have a reputation for for not being biased and being unbiased in these systems. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Hyra. We have now next John from Kenya. He's asking, can ChatGPT give out my sensitive information to a third party?
Um, they say they don't. They say they will not. Um, but as I said earlier, I don't trust them. They say they won't, but I don't trust them. The issue with um, GPTs and these large language models is that they have hundreds to thousands of layers of complexity in a way that they can't even tell you where their answers exactly come from. It's not like a database where you can go and search and find these things. So even if you wanted to go and get it back out, they might not be able to go and find it.
Mm,
So it's just don't trust it. Just don't trust it. Now, I will say there are organizations like IDEA, that's AIIDEA, .biz, who are building knowledge graph large language models where
mm,
the context window is as big as the graph and you can find the citation or the source for everything. So
mm.
it's coming. there are some really cool organizations doing the right thing in the right direction. But these big organizations where it's about the money, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I don't trust them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. And it's great that Gabriela, she kind of made a question that follows up naturally what John asked. She's asking, how can professionals ensure ethical and secure AI usage while adapting to constantly evolving tools and privacy standards?
Yeah. My I guess my recommendation, it depends on if you're an individual or if you're in a group or work setting. Um, I think I think that more and more organizations should have policies for how they handle these things. They should have guidelines for how they handle these things so that everybody knows in the same way that companies have core values and core principles and a mission statement and a vision statement, they need AI use policies. And at least you can say everybody should be doing this. Ensuring ethical and secure AI usage while the constantly evolving tools and privacy standards. I mean, we face the same thing as humans, right? We have we have evolving ethics as humans, unfortunately, um, and we have to do our best today. We have to do our best with the information we have today, and then if we learn tomorrow that that was wrong, correct it going forward. And I wish I had a better answer.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That goes kind of like the popular heuristic, don't do to others what you wouldn't like being done to you, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good one. Well, now we have Nuri from India. Uh, so, AI serves as a second opinion or assistant rather than the final decision maker. For example, when accompanying my child while studying. It's a
I've done
practical.
that. I've
It's
done that. I have a I have a 14-year-old and he's learning math and I can't do it all. So absolutely. But to your first question, Nuri, yes, I see it as a second opinion or an assistant. I definitely see it that way. As I said, it's a consultant. I know I'm trying to do this work that I've learned how to do and I want to do it better. And so I want to use this assistant that's available to me for its opinion on what I'm doing. Doesn't mean I'm going to trust it, doesn't mean it's going to get it right, and it's good to have that skepticism to say, maybe not. No, I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with my experience. Or I don't have time to give you all the context to tell you why that's wrong. So I'm just going to go do what I got to do. Thanks for your opinion.
Yeah, there's an honest, transparent answer in there. And I think our final question also it comes from Erin. She asked a question first too. She asks, "Can ChatGPT grant you access to hidden study materials, for instance, courtesy of AI from credible academic websites?"
Um, so I assume this means like academic websites where you would normally need a subscription to them, like to pay for journal articles or things like that. I don't actually know. I have seen articles where people have been able to force through deception, they've been able to force chat to do
Mm.
things that it wasn't designed to do,
No.
just to prove that that could be done. So I haven't tried these things myself. I'm not sure. Um, I I do think that most of the information you want to find, there are ways to find it. I haven't used chat to do that though. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not our area of expertise
Yeah.
to crack things up here.
Yeah.
Okay, we have actually two more,
Yeah.
but yeah, this one is more like an opinion, but I think we can formulate a question out of it. He's saying, but I don't think AI always give correct answers to the question. So the question could be,
Definitely not.
yeah.
Definitely not. When I was working with that company idea, AI idea, it's pronounced idea. Um, they were one of their first use cases was for a a research assistant, and what they said was, my research assistant, it's okay if they're wrong 15% of the time, 20% of the time,
Mm.
but if they are wrong, they need to be able to tell me where they got the information that they got. And chat can't do that right now. And that's why.
Mm,
So always be skeptical of the answer that it gives you. Relying on the answer, especially when you know chat was last updated in 2024, for example.
mhm,
Like you can't, I couldn't use it to go get my projection numbers for the budget spending
mm,
uh, that was in my presentation. You have to know its limitations and you always have to be skeptical.
Yeah, and there's even some of the chats normally have a message at the bottom that says there could be mistakes and check that out. Okay, and final question to wrap it up. We have Ravi. Your favorite AI tools. What are your thoughts on Vid? I don't know that one, and Image Gen AI, like VO3, Flux,
Yeah,
Journey, and Runaway.
thanks. My favorite AI tools were the ones that I shared. Those are the ones I use most often. They're not necessarily my favorites, but it's just what I use to keep me productive and relevant right now. I have not gotten too much into image and video generation yet. I would love to. I think it is fascinating when I see some of the stuff on LinkedIn that people post of the video generation. I think it's going to be amazing when we see our first like full feature film that was
Yeah.
generated by AI and there's no actual actors in it. It's going to be incredible. I personally haven't spent that much time there. If I do, maybe and do another one of these talks and talk about those tools. But I know there are people out there that are experts in that. So sorry, I can't give more insight there.
Yeah, it's super fascinating, man. When you see how the feeling. I mean, if you can find a word to describe this whole thing with AI, it would be kind of magic. Just like a new era, like just like when Google
Yeah,
indexed every
yeah,
information in the world, and you felt like you were looking for
yeah.
something, and there was a before and after. It's magic. It's
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we had an excellent session, Jamie. I was here taking notes. There's something I'm gonna try right after this webinar, which is Notebook LM. I found it fascinating.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and so much useful content and things to digest and keep learning. It was an excellent session. I would like to thank you personally and everyone who came here today to stay with us. I know it's late for some of you, people in Asia and India, and we appreciate you guys being here. And Jamie, thank you so much. The stage is all yours to say goodbye.
Oh, thank you all for having me. You all are a great crowd, a great community. Good luck with the rest of the learning series, the Power Up series, and good luck with the competition. Thanks, everyone. I really, really appreciate everything.
All right. Have a great rest of your day there in Germany, and watch out for any storm. Hope you're safe.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Take
All
care,
right.
everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.